Hello, everybody. Good morning, one and all, and welcome back after an extended break away. This is Dragonmark Symphony here on Natural One Media. My name is Dylan. I
Yeah.
am your DM for today. Here with my friends. As I said, we've been away for quite a while. We moved. We got new jobs. We danced. A lot happened. We can't even really get into it because it's been so long. But what we can do is get right into this game after a nice little recap. All of my players, of course, remember everything that happened, down to the finest detail. But for the audience sake, let's go over what happened last time. Our group was in a very strange wizard's tower, which feels kind of redundant to say, but it is. It's a very strange wizard's tower. Trying to find the owner of the tower in the hopes that they would have some sort of a treatment or an answer for the recent condition that Silva has received, which is bitten by a jank werewolf that doesn't behave like werewolves usually do. While in the tower, the group was beset upon by some horrifying trees of some sort that clearly had some sort of experimentation done upon them. There was a lot of chaos. Things were thrown around, cabinets were knocked over, magical potions and elixirs were sent flying into the air. And in the confusion, Set was separated from the rest of the group and moved into the next room. When the rest of the group followed after shortly, they found themselves in a room that was nearly identical to the previous one, except sort of like mirrored, like it had been flipped. And there was no Set to be found. Set had totally disappeared. So the group sort of looked around, they investigated a bit, they came across a strange rectangular mirror. They did a few things to that mirror with very unexpected results, and at some point found that directly above their heads, the ceiling was also mirror-like, except instead of reflecting them, it was more just like this large sheet of glass stretching all the way across. And on the other side, they saw a large green field with a forest off in the distance, and just off at the corner, you could barely make it out. What almost appeared to be like a village, like buildings in a village or a town. The group ended up traversing through that ceiling, and as they did, they were disassembled and reassembled before falling towards the green field. They had to act fast, and luckily they were able to land without any serious injuries. But when they did, they were greeted by a couple of strangers that approached from the distance. Both of the strangers looked fairly similar to each other, particularly in their facial structure. Though they had slight differences in like the eye color. One of them had shoulder length hair, the other had shorter hair. And when they met with the party, they let them know that they were essentially on an island of sorts that is isolated from the rest of Corvair. And both of them introduced themselves as Tauric Yates. Same name for both of them. And that is where we had sort of left off with the group. So, coming back, these two had mentioned about bringing the rest of you back to their village, and that they had visitors before. They also had mentioned that there was somebody that had arrived earlier, a cloaked figure, who some of you suspected might be Set or could be somebody else entirely. And that person had arrived at the village and was being provided with some equipment, some things to take with them before they leave. and that is where we jump right back in. So you are with these two Taurics, and they're kind of, as they're speaking with you all, they're definitely like their eyes kind of bounce from person to person. Definitely examining you, looking at the clothes you're wearing, the weapons and the gear that you have on you, sort of getting a read on you as they talk. But so far haven't seemed openly hostile in any way.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you for reminding me these feelings of rage from last time, Dylan.
I mean I was gonna say the only potential feeling of rage is from the player side of truly understanding what the meaning of Tolric Yates is.
It's very true. Have you pondered your Tower Gates yet?
Nice, that's good.
So,
but yes, otherwise,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
I don't remember. So I forgot the thing. I was checking something in the last part of that. So like, we didn't get caught up with Set yet, right?
Correct.
No.
So you do not know where Set is. TYK had mentioned that there was a cloaked figure who had arrived earlier.
Yeah.
That had actually been taken to the village, and was likely going to be leaving again soon. They may be getting some supplies from somebody within the village, but they weren't too certain if they were. They had heard it secondhand.
Right. Well, yeah. So I think our first thing we probably should do is make our way to wherever at least you had heard that Set may have gone to.
Or at least this hooded figure.
Yeah, so the
I mean,
village
it does
isn't too
generally
far
fit
off.
the description.
The man does love being hooded.
It's all right. Yeah, the village isn't too far off from here. We're going to head
I
just
don't know
over.
if I've seen them with their hood down. So
We're going to head just over this hill, and actually, I think. Oh yeah, we'll make good time. But
one
do
time I
stay close,
theorized
will
that
you?
their hood is actually part of their head. I'm sorry, what?
Makes sense.
I was just saying, definitely stay close. It's not an enormous island by any means, but you definitely don't want to wander off too far. Especially into the woods. There are some creatures there and some dangers you might want to look out for. So better to stick with us, and we can lead you back, right, Talric? Yes, exactly. We'll take you with us.
Forgive the interruption. But you both share a name?
Yes, we do. He is Talric, and I am also Talric.
And
Yes. If you recall, moments ago, I asked about how they discern each other, and I guess they utilize different acronyms.
Yes, we have kind of we have a bit of a naming convention between ourselves and the rest of the Taurics. As we established, there's 26 of us, so
one for each
it
letter.
could get confusing. Apparently so. Might be more of a question for the Elder on that. I'm not sure what the origin
The
of
Elder?
that was. Yes, there is a. Sorry, there is a. There is a Tauric at the village who has been around for quite some time. We sort of looked at him as the leader of our settlement, but he knows a lot, and I'm sure he'd be able to answer a lot of the questions that you most assuredly have.
Well, TYK was it? Do you think we could maybe?
I'm actually TYL. He is TYK.
Sorry.
The shorter haired stranger says yes. TYK. At your service.
Do you think you could arrange a meeting for us with this elder so we can get an idea of I look up at the sky and
I believe
what's going on?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's planning to meet with the cloaked figure as well. I don't see that being a problem at all. Usually, anytime we have visitors, they at some point or another will meet with the elder.
I look over at Silva and I'm like, 2 birds with 1 stone. He might be the wizard that we're after.
Oh, who knows? At this point, I have no idea what we have gotten ourselves into. But inevitably what matters is trying to reconvene the set. So
All right. Well, TYK, TYL, lead the way if you could.
Very well. Just follow us, and they will lead you over the hill. Neither of them have horses, so it is going to be an on-foot journey. But it doesn't take very long. It's like 35-minute walk. And you do see very quickly, coming over this clearing, this settlement that has been built up. There are several buildings that are sort of positioned up, around each other. You can see at this point in the day that there are many people sort of walking around. And as you begin to come into the village proper, they actually do kind of have these like semi-paved roads that they've built out and established for themselves. The buildings are made of a combination of like brick and clay that has been formed together with full set roofs, windows, doors. It's very much in an established place. There is a much larger building that's kind of seated towards the other side of the settlement, where a lot of these like semi-paved paths all kind of convene and then join together to reach this building. As you come into the village proper, you see some of the people walking around, and you notice that a lot of them, there are varying heights, ages, but a lot of their like facial structure and like general appearance is very similar. Though some have slight differences in like their hair, or there are even, there are seemingly men and women alike. As you see that there are a few women that pass by as well and wave. You see farmers coming by with a wagon that is filled with wheat and a bunch of materials that they seem to have gotten from out in the field.
They don't all look the same, right?
They look sort of the same. It's a very like uncanny valley type of thing, where it's like they look nearly identical, but there are these slight differences and like things that they've seemingly changed about themselves to make themselves look a little more different.
Interesting.
But then there's even like very slight things of like a lot of them have green eyes, green irises, but then you'll see a couple that have like brown or blue irises instead. It's these like very small details that are different about them.
Okay. I'm gonna ask our guides. So what is this village called? Do you guys know much of the history here?
We don't really have a name for the village. TYK kind of looks at TYL. Yeah, it's true. We haven't particularly named the village itself, but the island, of course, has a name. The island is Cressia.
Cressia.
Cressia. That is the name of the island itself.
No village name. What about no, this is not my place.
No, we're very open to suggestions. We're not exactly architects or planners here.
I didn't know that you were such a stickler for island names.
Listen, I was just interested in the history. There seems to be something going on. You built quite a little community here.
Please, person from another land, what should we call our land instead? What
I think you should call it New Cressia.
Ooh, I like that. That's not bad.
How about New York?
Should we have TYJ write that down? How do you spell that?
Call it Johannesburg.
There we go.
Now
that's good. That has a ring to it. I like that. It flows off the tongue. We should have TYJ write that down, but we'll need to know how it's spelled.
Yeah, I like Johannesburg. Johan. I guess we keep walking.
Nope,
Yeah.
you gotta finish spelling it out. You started this. You started this. Now finish it.
JOHANNESBURG.
TYJ, and they call out. You see that there is another figure nearby. They have this kind of like rudimentary fountain that they've set up in the middle of the square. And there is a figure slightly slouched over. He has an enormous tome in his hands, and he is speaking to another who is on horseback. And they have this like extremely carved out like bird mask that they're wearing on their face. Both of them look up as TYK calls out to them. And the figure with the tome sort of snaps it shut with a loud thud and begins walking over.
I wonder which Tywyk is the horse.
I'm not smart enough to have thought of that. TYL calls out to them and says, TYJ, we have more visitors here, and they have some interesting propositions for what we should name the settlement. And TYJ steps forward and says, yes, that's very interesting indeed. Hi, TYJ. It is a pleasure to meet all of you. I'm the archivist for the island of Crescia. Yes, what is this about a new settlement name?
Well, you know, I'm a humble traveler. My name is Clark. I thought that I thought that naming this place might be very cool to be called Johannesburg. Apparently.
Make a deception check for me, please.
A deception check. Oh god, that's a 10.
Okay. And then go ahead and make a persuasion as well.
That's a 16.
Okay. TYJ sort of their eyes sort of narrow. They kind of ponder that for a moment. It does roll off the tongue. What is the origin of that name? I'm curious.
Oh, it's an old legendary hero from one of my hometowns.
Oh.
Sailed the 7 seas. I thought fitting with the island name.
There's 7 seas where you're from.
Yes.
Could you name those for me as well, please? This is very important. And he opens up this enormous tome where you can see there's just like all these things that have been written down, diagrams, long paragraphs of things. And he whistles, and you see a inanimate quill appears out of nowhere and moves through the sky, much like Secretariat did back in Rote.
Rest in peace, Secretariat.
What's funny is the person who's truly
Secretariat didn't die.
He's dead to us
now.
The quill is fine.
The time in which he actually gets to play the game again.
Dak is just staring at Johannes, intrigued with this entire situation.
The quill hovers menacingly over the pages. What are the names of these seas?
Standing there.
There's the Dax Sea, the Nathaniel Ocean.
Oh my fucking god!
The
I gave my real name.
Silverian Sea.
I already gave them my real name.
All right, keep going.
The Atlantic.
The Atlantic, okay.
Sorry for the interruption, but the Caspian Sea?
Oh yes. The Caspian Sea.
Caspian Sea, alright.
The Thornley Ocean. The Kinder Strait.
The Kinder Strait. Wow.
How many is that?
How many are we?
TYJ looks up at you. So that's 6. What's the 7th?
The Bart Ocean.
You said your name was Bart.
No, I said my name was Clark.
Your name is Clark.
I have no last name.
You have no last name. very sorry to hear that. What? Do you not have parents?
No, not
What is your
anymore.
lineage?
I don't know. They left me for dead when I was a child. I was taken in by pirates. Hence the sailing.
I see. So why didn't you come here by boat? Maybe he lost his boat. Oh, that'd be terrible if he lost his boat.
I've lost many things in my life these days.
So sorry.
Including one of our friends who I think the Elder might know where he is. Is he still in town?
TYJ says, could you describe them, please?
He likes hoods. I would describe him as a hooded figure.
TYJ looks to the other two towers. That could be the figure that TYR brought into the village not too long ago. He is inside the main hall.
Really?
Yes.
Could you take us to him?
They're a friend of yours, correct?
There's a chance. We are looking for our friend, and he does fit the description.
They're a friend of yours.
If we're looking for our friend and he fits the description, but there are also many people who wear many hoods. Though probably not many on this island that seem to appear out of nowhere.
Your philosophies astound me, young
Thank you.
Clark, it was?
Yes.
I want to make sure I have this correct.
Yes,
I'm writing
Sir Clark.
this down.
Sir Clark.
Anytime somebody visits our island, it is an established part of our history that we are building here.
That's incredible. I'm so happy to see history in the making. The history of us being led to the Elder now, potentially.
Yes, of course. I am taking up far too much of your time. Slams the tomes shut with the quill inside. Folds it underneath of his arm. Yes, no. So if you see here, and you can see that there's just like the largest building out of all of them, this very large building. This is our hall. It's where we go to conduct meetings for the settlement. Our elder and our leadership figures preside here as well. This also used to be where the creator visited long ago, but we still keep a room open for them, and we do have spare rooms available as well. We wanted to account for any sort of growing population or any visitors in the future. So we do have spare rooms if you need them. Or of course we can help you as best as we can to get you on your way quickly if you need that as well. But yes, go ahead and head on inside. Your friend should be just inside there as well.
Well, thank you very much. Let's head on in.
So, as you all make your way into the hall, you see that there are a good 8 or 9 more Talrics walking around this area. Again, very slight differences in their physical appearance. These Talrics are walking around, they're speaking with each other, conducting business. You see that over on the right-hand side of this hall, there are several large bookshelves. And it looks like they're actually sort of amassing something of like a library that is being built here. And you can see that there are 2 figures sitting at little makeshift desks, actively writing. And as one of them finishes up a manuscript, they take it and with magic, they kind of float it over into the air and it flies across, organizing itself into one of the bookshelves. And they immediately conjure up more pieces of paper and begin writing, continue to write again. There are a couple more figures that have the bird-like mask that TYR had. And you see on the left side of the hall that there is a large door that has been built. Just this large wooden door. And there are 2 Talrics standing outside of it, each of them holding what appear to be halberds. And off to the left, there is a little seating area sort of set up. And there you see that there is a cloaked figure sat down in a chair. And next to them, with like this large sack of materials, kind of laying them out and moving things around, is appears to be a young woman who is she's just kind of moving things around on like a little table that's set up there, and you see that she has a what appears to functionally almost be something like a lute strung to her back, and she is in conversation with this cloaked figure. Set.
Yes.
You have been brought into the hall,
Mhm.
and were given a seat, and not too long after sitting down, a young woman approached you. Her hair is kind of pulled back into a bit of a bun, kind of tied back. She has like a collared overshirt, and uh, she carries like a lute on her back that's sort of strapped. It has like a leather strap. And she has brought with her this enormous like rucksack. She just sort of slams it down next to you. And she says, that was really heavy. I wish TYN wasn't using the cart right now, but it is what it is. Hi, I'm Tiger. Nice to meet you. Kind of brings a hand out to shake yours.
I'll shake her hand.
It's a pleasure to meet you. We don't get visitors very often. We get them sometimes, but wow. Sorry, I need a minute. I am out of breath. And she just kind of like plops down in the chair next to you. I was told that you might need some supplies. That you were an adventurer that came here under weird circumstances. Is there anything you need? Do you need rope? Do you need potions? Do you need any sort of cutting implements, utensils? Anything we can help you out with?
I think I'll never turn down some potions. They're always useful. Aside from that, I think I'm fairly well set. Maybe a rope, maybe some rations, but otherwise, don't make that look for any. Don't do that. That was unintentional.
He's well set.
Yeah. Other than some potions, maybe some rations.
Oh, I got plenty of rations. She kind of digs around in the rucksack and she pulls out. They look like like McDonald's McGriddles, like wrapped up in like just like this parchment paper, and she kind of sets them on the table, throws a couple of them out to you. I'm pretty sure those are still fresh, but they're meant to last for a while. And potions, yeah, we got a few in here. And she pulls out a couple of like bottles that are like various sizes, but they have like the same sort of colored liquid in them. It's a reddish color, but it's got like this slight yellowing to it. And she pulls them out, she hands them to you. I'm pretty sure these are health potions. And also it'd be good to have she kind of digs around. Here are some antidotes. Thinner bottles. Again, neither of the bottles are identical, they're different, but the liquid inside of them is like a murky brown.
Okay.
Antidotes. This is going to cure you against a lot of ailments, various venoms, poison ivy, and oak. They figured out the oak part pretty recently. That was a big deal. But yeah, these will kind of help with a lot of those. And also, when she brings out like another bottle, this vial is completely blue. Some pounder for the road. Kind of a thing we like to pass around. Or trying to make it a big deal. And anything else? Anything else you need? I mean, I've got rope, like I say. I've got camping equipment. Anything you need. Are you going to be traveling a lot after you leave here?
Yes. Hopefully, once I reunite with my party, we'll be continuing to travel. But I think we're good on equipment. Otherwise, kind of open up my bag and look through what I have, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, if anything, if you have a few spare arrows lying around, I'm starting to run low on those, but
I'm pretty sure we do. TYQ, I think, had some spares. I'll tell you what. I'll be right back. I'll see if I can round up TYQ. She's probably hanging out with TYP right now, knowing the two of them. Let me see if I can go grab them. I'll be right back. Just sit tight. Don't go anywhere. You're technically under my watch, but you're not going to do anything bad, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Great. Don't do anything bad. Okay, I'll be right back. Bye. And she kind of pops up and walks away. As she walks away, there's like another group sort of coming towards, and she kind of waves at them and says, "Hi, welcome to the settlement. I'm Tiger. Sorry, I gotta go. They need arrows. Okay, be right back. Ciao." And she kind of walks out the door. And the rest of the group, after Tiger quickly says hello to you and walks away, you see a well set sitting in a chair off in the corner. With what appears to be some like sausage McGriddles sitting in front of them, as well as an assortment of potions.
As Tiger walked away, I immediately started like looking at the potions because I'm like, she said she's pretty sure these are health potions. And, like, take a health potion out of my bag and like compare them against each other and like just trying to verify if these are actually health potions and not just some random liquid.
Make an investigation check for me.
That is an 18.
18. They definitely the consistency of them and the coloring isn't the same as what you've seen from a lot of like the established potions. These are definitely like a homebrew. These are homemade, something that was likely concocted here on the island outside of the influence of any of like the major alchemists of Corvair. So the reality is you're not entirely sure if these are what she said they were. You kind of got to take her word for it.
Got it.
Try them yourself.
Got
you
it.
don't see anything that immediately strikes you as like, oh, this is poison.
Yeah.
But you're also not, it's hard to identify them because they don't carry a lot of the identifying traits of potions that you know.
Gotcha. And so how many of those healing potions and how many of the antidotes did she hand over?
2 healing potions, 3 antidotes, and then the 1 bottle of the blue liquid.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, I'm just sorting through that then and putting them in my bag.
Yep, and the rest of the group, you see Setzer.
Wait. We see him?
You see Set sorting the items. Set is sitting. You see Set. They are sitting and they are sorting the items.
You see Set sitting and sorting.
Yes.
You guys, that's a sitting sorting Set.
Yeah.
See.
Do you see? Do you see the sitting sorting Set?
Yes.
I guess let's go up to our party member.
Yo, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
They're at set.
Set.
Sitting and sorting.
Sitting and sorting. How did you get here?
Oh.
I
Well,
imagine a similar way that we got here.
did you guys pass through the ceiling?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Intentionally?
Yes.
Took us long enough to get to it, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a struggle. We're not very smart.
So there wasn't an
In our defense,
anti-gravity trap in the room.
What? No.
Nuts.
Actually trying to remember.
Fuck.
No.
Okay, well, I
yeah,
did not intentionally go here.
Well, on the plus side, it seemed to be one of the only ways, because when we got horribly distracted by a mirror, which we thought was going to be the portal, and this ended up really being the only route to anywhere. So, on your defense, I don't think we would have ended up anywhere else, really.
Interesting. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I unfortunately must have triggered a trap that made it so that I started floating towards the ceiling. And after some figuring out of what was around the room through crawling underneath the planter boxes, I also determined that there really was no other way for me to go than just to let myself go up to the ceiling. It hurt. Like, pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm still on the verge of death, so I'm kind of hoping that we can get a chance to rest while we're here and none of...
Oh, you're not feeling well? Here, I'll hand Johannes one of the potions that Tiger just gave me. One of the healing potions.
Which
Which
potion
one specifically are you handing to?
The healing potion.
Which was
one of the two reddish.
Do you remember what? Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, the reddish with like a hint of yellow in them.
Yes, it was the reddish ones with the.
I'm gonna like grab it and like hold it up to the light quick because there's like.
There are.
Thank you.
It has bubbles inside, but there's a bit of a yellowish tint and sort of like an overarching red, like a ruby.
They have carbonated healing potions here. That's so cool. I'm just gonna drink it.
Okay. Roll a d6 for me.
Oh. I gotta bust on my real dice
in a row.
Oh man.
I have real dice this time, so trust me.
At least you got your legacy set.
That's a 1.
Okay. Now roll a d4 and add 4.
D4 plus 4. I've got that right here. That's a 5.
Okay, so you heal 5 hit points.
Okay.
But there's definitely this like ambery aftertaste. And you're a little burpy. It's a little you can definitely feel the carbonation on that.
Sarsaparilla.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Seth. I appreciate it.
Yeah, how do you feel? That help?
I feel a little better, yeah.
Okay, great.
I like give him like a stare and I like look around and then okay. And just like nod and move on.
Sets. Seeing the denizens of this area.
What was that?
Have you seen the denizens of this area? The Talric Yates?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to get this far without having seen them, Dak.
Should we be concerned about them?
I think the stranger aspect.
Like,
if there's only Alric.
y'all are so goddamn quiet.
You
I
guys
need
are
to-
like
Oh.
incredibly quiet.
Reem.
That's
Well,
not
part
good.
of it was that it was super loud for a moment. But yes, part of the
How about now?
question is if there's anything but Tower Gates on this island.
And then who was that woman that passed by and introduced themselves as Tiger?
Yeah, she, I guess, is in charge of like the supplies. She was getting me some supplies before I was planning on having them help me basically teleport back to you guys. But if you're here, then we all need to get back to where we were.
Yeah.
I mean,
I still don't really know the relation with like this and the Wizard's Tower.
well, you had theorized that potentially whatever the elder is, wizard.
That's what I think. Yeah, I think we need to talk to him.
I
Also, I
met
mean,
with the elder, right?
You did not. You met TYR and TYJ. TYJ is the archivist. He is one who has the enormous tome that he's been writing.
Yeah.
And TYR, who has the bird mask. You had met the two of them. You have not met the elder.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh yeah, I was talking to TYJ about like the wizard and like explaining that story. And all right, so
yeah.
From what I understand from talking to TYJ is I wouldn't think that the elder is the wizard, but the wizard has a relation with this settlement, this island, because they're magically cut off from the rest of Orbear. So clearly this wizard is much, much, much more powerful than we originally thought.
Interesting.
Have you seen any signs of the wizard possibly being somewhere around here?
No, I think when I talked to them, they said that the wizard used to visit, but they haven't seen them in quite a long time.
Which seems to be the theme of everything in this tower.
Wait, they haven't seen him in some time.
But they told me that they would be able to help reunite me with you guys. So clearly they have some sort of magic that they would be able to help us leave. So I think, let's meet with the elder once they're available and see what we can do about that.
Yeah, good idea. Is TYL or K still like floating around?
No. TYK and TYL did not join you when you walked into the hall. They stayed outside.
Okay.
But you do see, like I say, there are several other various Taurics walking about. Curiously enough, because it was mentioned, you do notice that one of them is speaking with a young woman who doesn't share a lot of the same like similar facial features or anything. At least from glancing from across the way, they appear to be an entirely different person. They have mousy brown hair that kind of comes up in a bit of a bob, and bit shorter in stature, very broad nose, and she is sort of conversing with another Tauric over on the other side. And in catching a glance at them, you also see that TYR, who was on horseback previously, has removed their bird mask and is sort of posted up against one of the walls with their arms crossed. And they are watching all of you very intently. You can see with the mask off that they have this kind of tattoo that kind of comes over the right eye. It almost appears scar-like, but it's these like very strange markings that come over top of the right eye, almost coming down into the cheek. But their eyes are just completely honed in on you.
You're being watched.
Should we go say
Looking over at TYR, just kind of. Just kind of wave at TYR. Like, yeah, TYR was actually the one that found me when I landed. Was the one that escorted me back here. Good person. I mean, they're just keeping an eye on us to make sure that we don't get into any trouble here.
Let's go talk around and see if we can find someone who knows where this elder is.
Well, I mean, the elder's busy right now. That's why they're, not letting us through these doors.
I suppose you're right.
You see TYR sort of breaks away from the wall and very confidently strides over to all of you. It's kind of surprising how quickly he's able to kind of move across the hall until suddenly he's right there. And he says to all of you, "Is everyone all right? Are you finding your accommodation suitable?"
I suppose. We're just sort of waiting around to meet with the elder.
Yeah. Tiger said she would be right back, looking for some arrows for me to replenish some of my stock. But other than that, I think we're just waiting to meet with the elder.
Understood. I apologize for the delay. I believe the elder had a discussion with TYV. There were some important matters. They've been doing some scouting over on the southern side of the island, and TYV had something to report, but it was not for everyone's ears. So I'm sure they will have this matter wrapped up shortly, and you will be able to meet with them directly.
Great.
Set, these ones here, they were the folk that you were traveling with before, right?
That is correct, yeah.
They seem a bit scrappy to me. Not exactly experienced fighters.
No, I wouldn't say any of us really are experienced fighters, but some of us have more experience than others. Different life experiences, but we are traveling together and have been for a little while now. And we're just, hopefully now that we've been reunited here, we're able to get back to where we originally came from.
Did I hear you mention something about a wizard or an arcanist of some sort?
Yes, that's how we ended up getting here. Is we were in the wizard's tower, and
Did he bring you here?
No, we were looking for the wizard. It was we ended up passing through some glass that ended up bringing us here.
You hear the sound of footsteps, not too far off, and you see coming around the corner through the entryway, kind of coming around the corner towards you. You see Tiger again. Only now she is being followed by two others. Both of them kind of similar in stature. They are, from appearance, they appear to be a male and a female. Following close behind, though they're sort of slack in their posture. They don't look like they really necessarily want to be here. Wearing sort of slightly looser fit clothes. They've sort of brought in, they've got like overshirts hanging. They're both wearing extremely heavy, large boots that kind of come up the thigh. And as they approach, the woman has like jet black hair that is extremely large, poofed out, very unkempt, and the male figure has shaved both sides of their head, and then they have taken the remaining hair and they have put it up into a mohawk of sorts that spikes outward, and it's like a very very dark brown color. The three of them approach, and Tiger says, "Found him. TYQ has plenty of arrows. She'd be happy to give you some, wouldn't you, Q?" And Q, who you notice too, she her lips have been blackened, and it appears as though she has taken some sort of like an ash or like a charcoal material and has darkened her lips, but has also like darkened the area around her eyes. And she looks to you and she says, "Yeah, I can give you arrows if you want arrows. Got plenty. Don't
Yeah,
really need them around here, so."
Yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. I have ended up using them more and more frequently.
Do you need a quiver too? Do you like even have a quiver?
No, I have a quiver.
Cool. That's good for you, man.
You sound so enthusiastic about this.
I love it here.
It sure seems like it.
Yes, the bee's knees, right, love? Says the figure with the mohawk, kind of crossing his arms.
Yeah, if I could get, maybe like 10 arrows, dozen arrows, that would be great.
That's a lot, mate. What do you plan to do with that, huh?
We have unfortunately been getting into our fair share of scraps. We just recently took down a pseudo werewolf.
All right. It's crazy. Maybe you should learn how to make your own arrows. Be practical if you're getting in
Wow.
scouts with werewolves, wouldn't
it? It would. I'm hoping that we don't have any more scouts with werewolves, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared.
Right. Crazy. What color was this werewolf? If you don't mind me asking all that. TYQ sighs and goes, "Here's probably not even the same werewolf. He's definitely dead by now. Well, you never know, love. There's always a chance. I mean, how often do you hear about somebody getting in touch with the werewolf, eh? Odds being what they are, could be the same werewolf. We don't know. Only way you're going to know is if you're going to ask."
Forgive the interruption. You said that you've had dealings with a werewolf as well?
Yeah, we got a friend of ours is a werewolf.
Oh.
Was a werewolf. No, we haven't seen him in a while.
I can almost guarantee that we did not encounter your friend. As I said, more of a pseudo werewolf. They didn't really behave like a typical werewolf. They did not really have much cognizance about them. They were covered in like rats.
Covered in rats?
Yeah.
Are you sure they didn't just need a bath? They could have been dirty.
No, they were.
That sounds cool. Imagine like a cardigan made out of like rat fur.
Ratigan.
I'm sorry?
A ratigan? Cardigan made out of rats?
Again. That'd be kind of cool.
Regardless, arrows, and then if you have any more questions,
yeah, I'll give you.
We would be glad to answer them. But
and she gives you a bunch of arrows. You can take these. I'm not using them.
I appreciate it.
Whatever. Don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
All right then.
Set.
What's up, Dak?
Why does TYQ have a similar style of dress as you?
Great question, Jack. Some people just have similar fashion choices.
Understood.
How many arrows did they hand over?
14.
14. Cool. 27.
So you lot ain't from around here, obviously. Where did you all come from then? You from the mainland?
What is the mainland?
The mainland, mate. Corvair.
Yeah.
You know the
Yes.
big old rock over there?
Yes, that is where we came from. We were rather unfortunately transported here. Not entirely desired, but here we are.
Oh, give us a cold shoulder then, why don't you?
Well,
See, here I thought we were rolling out the welcome mat for them, but it turns out they don't desire to be here. Well, ain't that a
I mean,
page?
I was brought here against my will, kind of.
Ooh.
I floated up into a ceiling, and then all of a sudden I was here. So, and it was not the most enjoyable experience being transported here. Coming here, this village, this area, very nice. The process of going from the Wizard Tower to here, not so much.
That wasn't anybody's favorite, really.
Wait, you're from the Wizard Tower?
That's how we got here.
You reckon they know? Probably do, but who cares? All I care. You know, we haven't seen that wizard in like 4.5 months. You know where he's buggered off to?
No, we were looking for the wizard as well. That's why we were traversing through their tower.
Well, if you see him, you let him know we miss him, all right?
Sure. We can do that.
Right.
We're looking for him. We're hoping someone here might know, but you know.
Oh, you're probably here to talk to the elder then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are. He seems
He's a
very
more
busy.
dignified company than us. I understand. I get you.
No, you seem like a fun person to be around. Absolutely.
Oh,
we're
cheeky.
we're unfortunately short on time, as our friend, and I'll gesture over to Silva, was bitten by that werewolf that I was talking about, and we're trying to make sure that nothing bad happens from that.
How long ago was this in?
But it's been
yesterday.
an hour?
Oh, well then you'll be fine. If you were bitten by our werewolf, you'd be dead within the minute.
Oh.
Well, then that just goes to show that we did not encounter your werewolf then. But we will keep an eye out for them if you'd like us to.
Well, I don't know if they'll be using like a fake name or something. But around here they were TYN.
I am. Okay. Good to know. Keep an eye out.
One of the Taurics that was guarding the doors approaches the group and says, Tiger, Tyr, sorry to break this up, but the Elder has finished speaking with TYV, and they are ready to see you now. Tiger says, oh, well, it's going to be fine. He's a total softie. Just let him know why you're here and what's going on, and I'm sure he'll be happy to help you guys out.
I appreciate it, Tiger.
It'll be a lot more helpful than these two anyway. Thanks, love. Appreciate the confidence. Come on, TYQ, we got bad things to do. Yeah, of course we do. Have fun. Don't get killed. Bye.
Already happened once. Try to avoid it.
Ooh. Edgy. Like it. Cheers, mate.
Well.
And the two of them kind of turn around and walk off.
Well,
Tiger gives you like a double thumbs up and it's just like, look, we got this. And she leaves as well. The guardsmen and TYR sort of accompany you to the door, and the door is opened for you. Inside is a small chamber with a rather large, almost like a dining table, like a banquet table, set up. At the end of the table is a very large chair. It's not like especially ornate. It's honestly pretty simplistic, as is a lot of the furniture and the furnishings of the room. But sitting at the end of the table, there is a much older man. Very clear wrinkles to the face. The hair is grown out and it is very gray. Sort of fatigued eyes. And they sit there next to them, clad in a lot of the same garments that like TYR was wearing, and sporting their own mask on their person. This one is carved out like a wolf. This other figure is still sitting next to them. They're in the process of kind of like wrapping up some things, putting some things away. And as you enter the room, they turn to look at you, and their stare is piercing, much in the way that TYR's was. Their head is completely shaved. And they look at you with these piercing green eyes.
Like, whoa.
Hi, sorry to interrupt as you were wrapping up. We're visitors here to see the elder.
The elder looks up to you all and says, "Yes, very well. Please take a seat where you may like. I trust that you have been welcomed here warmly."
Absolutely.
"I shall take my leave. Thank you for your time, Elder. We shall speak again at dinner." Kind of nods to the rest of you and gathers up their things, and the other figure walks away. "You'll forgive TYC. We had a discovery happen on the southern cliffs of the island. TYC suspects some sort of interference, and we are taking extra precautions to make sure that there is no funny business happening. Please, sit, all of you."
Of course. Take a seat close to the
"Would any of you like
elder.
a drink? We have wine. We have ponder. We have some ales that are in the process of being experimented with. The fermentation process is a little iffy, but only because we are just beginning to establish our distillery here on the island."
What is ponder? Tiger gave me a bottle of it and didn't really explain.
It is a concoction that we began to establish here on the island, but it carries no alcohol within it. But it is meant to sort of emulate its appearance and taste.
Is that what I drank? I like whisper over it to no one in particular.
The idea is that we hope to be able to sell it on the mainland. TYE took some with them, as did TYD. They took some shipments with them in the hopes of being able to establish some trade with the mainland of Corvair. And there has been some progress made there, but nothing major. As it is, it's only available in a few places in Corvair. There's a city over there called Sire, where they were trying to start up some sort of business, but I'm afraid a lot of the progress on that went silent. There was some sort of a major event that happened over there that caused communications to cease.
Forgive me the interruption, but did you say Sire?
Yes, it's a nation, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Seated in the middle of Corvair. We have connections in the nation of Brayland. But Sire we have sort of been cut off from. As I understand it, there was unfortunately a major incident that caused them to be no longer reachable.
What year do you believe it is right now?
Oh, well, we have our own. It's a curious thing. We have our own calendar and time that we've established here. The mainland, as I understand it, is currently in the year. TYJ is much better at these things. I believe he said that the year is 998, though they record their years based on their own established history as opposed to ours. So we ourselves are currently in year 7, but
7.
the mainland, I believe, 998.
Forgive me. The year is currently 999.
Is it now? Oh, well, I have missed a digit there, but it's all right.
Are you not aware as to what happened to Sire?
Well, we are aware that there was an immense war between a lot of the nations that had broken out for quite some time. In fact, when we were established, this war was still very much ongoing. But the way that it was told to us is that Sire had some sort of a magical confluence that resulted in the deaths of many people, and the nation as it was has almost ceased to be. It at least as it was remembered and known, Sire, by all purposes, does not exist, though none of us have visited in any recent times, so it's hard to say for certain, but yes, Sire was, as we understood it, a nation of immense progress and technology, and its people were working towards very, very important things before the event.
And you are aware of the mourning?
Yes, it was a period of time that occurred after this. I believe it contributed to the end of the war as it was. Though again, many of these events happened while we were still in our infancy as a settlement.
And you said that currently it is year 7 for you?
I believe so. My mind wanders occasionally. I think. And at that moment, somebody else comes through the door, and you see TYJ. Says, "Sorry, I'm late. Had to catch up with some other things. Elder, you said you wanted me to sit in for this. Oh, yes, of course. I would like you to record the events of this meeting. They, of course, are very important. Could you actually remind me, as you're taking a seat here, what is our current established year?" And TYJ, sort of as they're taking a seat, they bring the tome open again, and they say, "Oh, well, year 7, PE, but technically the 14th year since our Primarch. For all of you, it would probably be more easier to understand if you just refer to it as year 14. You all look a bit confused.
I look to the others. Not unsure of what other questions to ask.
No, I think that's good information to have. I think our primary concern right now is how can we get back to where we came from?
Well, there are two. I suppose there are two ways to go about that, really. We ourselves have a boat that we have chartered for the settlement. We use the boat whenever it is agreed upon that someone will be able to leave the island and travel to the mainland. As it stands, there are only a few of us who usually make these travels. Some of them return, others have not. A good example of that is TYD and E. TYD left Crescia and they actually found a partner over there. I believe they are married and they've continued to live there. They did not make the return back. A few of us have found partners on the mainland and then returned and chose to continue living here. And then there's the matter of TYE. See, TYE left about 3 years ago. They have not contacted us since, and we have not been able to reach them, which is troubling, of course, but we are choosing to keep our spirits high and hope that they will eventually return.
And then, is there a different way than your boat to get back?
Yeah, we sort of got here via Wizard's Tower, portal, magic.
Which wizard, if I may ask?
We never got his name.
What do they look like? Were they long white hair? Did they have a big staff with the gem seated at the top of it? Did they float everywhere that they traveled? Any of this?
He didn't get a whole lot of descriptions.
We were trying to meet with them.
We were trying to meet with them. We were traveling near the city of Passage. And
does the name Crescius mean anything to you, or Grigori?
No. Like I said, they gave us next to no descriptions besides the people in the town that we were originally at. Were kind of they didn't like him very much.
What did you say this town's name was again?
So the town we were in.
I didn't write the name of the town. I wrote the name of all the areas.
Right?
Yeah, was it Gold? I know we were past. It was like past the Crying Field.
Yeah, it should have been gold.
Okay.
Well, yes, the town name's familiar. That is where it would have to be the same tower, wouldn't it, TYJ? TYJ says, yes, I'm thinking of the same one. Forgive us. Might have to give a bit of a history lesson here, if that's all right. You see, 7 years ago is the sort of the official establishment of our island, the island of Crescia. That name comes from a wizard who created us, as it were, a great mage by the name of Crescius. Now, Crescius, 14 years ago, he first created the island, established it, and made sure that it was isolated away from the rest of the world. Apparently, mages, very powerful ones, can create their own lands. It's fascinating. And he created this island, and he separated it from the rest of the world, and he was conducting scientific experiments here, but he wasn't doing it alone. He had a partner. There was another mage by the name of Gregory Arlton, Auralton. And these two were thick as thieves. They were working with an entire guild of mages, as far as we understand. But the two of them were the only ones to ever visit this island. It was theirs to conduct arcanic work on, but they didn't invite any other mages here normally. And, well, the elder can speak to. Yes, well, so I. The experiments that Crescius and Grigori were conducting were vast and very complicated. But one day, they brought a stranger to the island, a young man, a bard, as I understand it, in his occupation. He had volunteered to be part of an experiment that they were conducting. They wanted to create a enhanced version of an existing spell that allows you to duplicate yourself, to create mirror images of yourself. And the two mages wanted to enhance this spell in such a way that they could create duplicates that would not disappear after a set amount of time. They would be fully fledged replicas of the original person. And there were many experiments and many failures, attempts, until eventually they were able to create a duplicate of this bard. Myself, I am referred to as TYB. I am technically the first replica of Telric Yates.
So you're the first replica. Oh.
Ooh.
We got you
To
back.
recap before we cut out.
Oh yeah.
I was technically the first replica of the young bard Telric Yates. I didn't look too much like him. It was curious. They didn't let me in on a lot of the information. Frankly, it's gotten foggy for me, but it was like I was created from Master Yates, but I didn't share the same genetic structure. Elder is what you're trying to say. He didn't have all of the same physical attributes that Mr. Yates had, but he was still close enough to be considered a copy. But the mages weren't satisfied. They were trying to create an exact replica. And Elder TYB was close, but not exact. Not only that, but as time progressed, it was discovered that I was aging rapidly. Which is how, in the span of 7 years, I went from being about the same age as the Master to how I appear before you now. My age has been increasing rapidly, and it is expected that I likely will not live too much longer, though we don't know the exact time frame.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
The mages, of course, were very concerned by this, and they strove to work even harder to try to create a perfect replica. The belief was that if they could, they could possibly take the blood of the replica and perform. Oh gosh, TYJ, these things, they're so complex. TYJ says, it's all right. I can handle it from here. They spoke of performing a blood transfusion where they would take the blood from the prime Telric and would transfer it to the replica. And hopefully by transferring the blood, the replica's aging would stop and they would be cured in a sense. So they continued their experiments and they spent many weeks, and weeks turned into months, months turning into years. They were able to continue to create replicas. After TYB was TYC, who just left, actually. TYC is our war mage, as it were. He handles or oversees any potential conflict that may occur. He is responsible for overseeing the training of our guards. And TYR is his second in command, as it were. Their responsibilities primarily are the protection of this island, making sure that it is safe from any foreign invaders. Yes, correct. And TYC was the next replica to be made after the Elder. He doesn't seem to have the same issue with the advanced aging, but the mages weren't able to find a way to extract anything from him that they could then use to cure TYB's aging. And that unfortunately has been the case for many of the replicas that were made. So TYC has stayed here, and a few more replicas were made, by which I mean another 8 or 9. And that is when we began to establish the nomenclature that we use for how we identify everyone. It came from the mages. There were meetings where, Grigori, Master Arlton, he began to question whether it was right for replicas to be continued to be made, and whether or not we should be offered the opportunity for free will. Because as they understand it, we are people, and we seem to be our own established people with our own identities. Yes, there's been many interesting occurrences with that. Many discussions were held. Things began to change as more replicas were created. Some of us, we began to establish our own identities. We even moved away from the traditional constructs of what was expected. Replicas were made that they carried the characteristics of women or identified as women. We have some that even choose to identify as neither male or female. It's fascinating, really, how we've began to sort of establish these ideas. But it was clear that regardless of how we identified ourselves, we didn't see ourselves as exact replicas of the original. And Cressius didn't see this as a concern, but Grigori was becoming troubled by the idea of all of us continuing to live here and not having any contact with the outside world. What started as discussions became arguments. They were unsure about whether to proceed. Cressius was adamant in his desire to create the perfect replica of Tower Yates. And so he wanted to continue with the experiments, but Grigori was becoming trepidatious. At one point, replicas continued to be made, and it was decided that for the time being, we would start to sort of establish our own place. We began work on buildings and houses for ourselves, and the mages helped. They greatly sped along the process of us being able to build this settlement. And they had established a means of travel. They were using some sort of mirror, but we were not allowed to travel the same way. We were forbidden from leaving the settlement. We needed to stay here on the island. The way they spoke was that if we were to make our way into the mainland, it could have disastrous consequences. We could be killed, or somebody could kidnap us. And we should stay here where it was safer. There was a lot of talk about a war and something about a nation that had been decimated. And we, sire, the one that the other mentioned, this is where the nation of Sire was dismantled, and it was seen as evidence that we should not ever visit Corvair. We were safer here because there was this immense war that was happening outside on the mainland, and we were better off here than to try to establish a settlement there where there was this constant war going on. Nations, lines, and borders were changing constantly. It was very complicated, and it was considered easier and safer for us to just remain here. After years, 2 years ago, they created the 26th replica, TYZ. This replica was exact in every way. They had done it. They had achieved what was some were beginning to think was impossible. They had made a perfect replica of the young Tauric Yates without the use of the usual duplicity spells. And this replica lived and breathed. They had their own mind. They could think for themselves. And so they took TYZ and they left with them. And we did not see Grigori Arlton after that. Cressius returned sometime later. His actions were more erratic. He was panicked, more quick to anger. I tried to work with him, but he was growing more, I don't know, but his mind was troubled. Things had clearly changed in the other world. And then a few months ago, he left again, and we haven't heard from him or Grigori Arlton since. It has just been us here. And we've never seen TYZ again. We don't know what happened with him either. It's just been us here on the island, and in the face of no contact, we've chosen to just continue on and continue to build our settlement and continue to live our lives here where we know it is safe.
Wow. That is quite a history that you have experienced. So was there, you spoke of this mirror that the wizards would go through. Is that still around? Is that something that we could try utilizing to go back?
It is. We forbid all of our it is forbidden for most of us to go anywhere near the mirror, but of course we know where it is located. On the southern side of the island, there is a small cave, and inside of that cave, there is a mirror. It is rectangular, though it has been years now since I have seen it. This mirror is what the mages use to travel back and forth. But we do not know how to operate it. And we were told explicitly that to attempt to do so could kill us in the process.
Quite a conundrum. Just to cover a lot of our bases, where do you typically port? Where does your boat typically travel to?
We have an established there is a the nation of Brayland, do you know it?
Yes.
Yes. So Brayland is the only nation that we really have had any proper contact with, at least in the past several years. There is an immense city there called Sharn. Not too far from there is a keep that was used in some battle. They call it the Flint Keep, and it's been repurposed now. And our vessel docks at the Flint Keep, and then anyone who is traveling, they will usually travel from there to the city of Sharn. It is just on that same side of there's an immense river there, the Dagger River. About a day's travel, but they can go from the Flint Keep to Sharn, and that is what they've done. It is important, though, however, to not go to the Torch Keep on the western side. I believe that is outside of an immense wood, and TYJ is kind of flipping through this enormous tome. Yes, the Dagger Wood, specifically on the western side. It is very important to not go there. Very dangerous. Better to once you've left the Flint Keep, to stick to the east. There's a main road just outside of Zilspar, and taking that road then leads you right to Sharn.
We can't go back to Sharn. We've just spent the last. I look at our party.
We weren't in Sharn. We were in Rote. It's completely different.
We
Further
we
away.
started in Sharn though. Yeah, I don't think we really have the intention of going to Sharn. So I think trying to utilize that mirror is our best option.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just anything to deal with my ailment. Really. I'm.
Where's your ailment, young lady?
No, actually, I don't think we discussed this.
Not with them, no.
Not with them. You're getting your Towerx confused. That was the other 5 Towerx.
Apparently,
Yes.
I am.
Yeah, Silva was bitten by a werewolf.
This is the reason we came to seek out the wizard, is so that we could deal with my potential. We don't know if it's confirmed either, but my potentials, my potential threat to that I could succumb to lycanthropy.
You said a werewolf?
Yeah, apparently not the one that is known. I don't know. Apparently there was one that's known to people around.
Yes,
not that
would
one.
be Tim. That would be Tim. Tower Yates M. Young Timothy. Yes, it was. And he kind of, you could see there's a very clear look of worry and concern over the.
Well, we were told that if it was Tim, that it would, it would have been like a minute that I would have perished. So
we don't fully know that. We've
it's been like a couple hours now. So
TYJ says, please understand. Tim is a unique case. As we understand it, he was somehow born with lycanthropy. From the point of his creation, he was never bitten by any werewolf. It would be impossible for a werewolf to visit our island. He has been a werewolf for the entirety of his existence, and the mages were trying to determine how. It's complicated. They had induced lycanthropy inside of a body without it being exposed to a previous host, and when it happened, they weren't entirely certain how they had made it occur. It became a whole nother round of experiments and discussions that they were having, and it turned nasty at times. I think Tim realized that he was a danger potentially for all of us, and he willingly left the island some time ago.
That must
Yeah.
be we ran into.
Yeah, we talked about this with Q. I don't believe this was the werewolf that we encountered. As we described to them, this werewolf didn't follow the trend of werewolves. They had a a swarm of rats throughout their fur, and they didn't seem right.
I certainly hope that wasn't ours. Be that as it may, because of Tim, our herbalists had to think quickly. We wanted him to be able to live a life with us here on the settlement, and though we were not able to cure his lycanthropy, we did discover something. We can provide you, and he sort of motions to TYR, who has been standing at the door. TYR nods and immediately leaves. TYR can fetch us. There is a very specific type of moss, and we have been able to develop a concoction from it. And it seems to, if not remove the lycanthropy, it does sort of regress the primal aggressive urges that come from it. Perhaps you could take some with you and ingest it, and it may actually prolong your ability to fight off the disease. We would
That would be
more than
very
happy
helpful.
to provide this to you.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. So, Silva,
really
have you
don't
been
know what we're
experiencing
dealing with,
anything?
so- No, not yet.
Silver, roll a d20 for me.
Oh yeah, great. 11.
I just realized I've been muted this entire time. Yeah.
This guy.
This guy.
But 11, yes.
11. Okay. Silva. The elder reaches out their arm, gesturing to TYR to retrieve the moss. And the sleeve kind of comes back a little bit. And you can see that they are aging very rapidly. You can already see where the arm itself is becoming quite frail. Very visible veins of blood running through. The slightest hint of like liver spots beginning to form. And a thought begins to bubble in the back of your mind that this elder, he's so frail and clearly not long for this world. And eventually they will probably bury him, which is a shame. I'm sure that his body could be put to better use. With all that blood, especially, it just feels like wasted blood that could be used for better things.
Oh, I love blood.
But you don't know what, and the thought, as quickly as it enters your mind, leaves you with this like repulsed feeling.
You're not a werewolf, you're a vampire now.
What kind of werewolf it be?
Yeah. I like how in one campaign Marshall's playing a half vampire.
Okay, yeah, like I've done enough with the vampires, all right? Like I was a vampire. I had a BBG being a vampire. Well, in a not in a fully technical sense, but you know what I mean. And then now I'm infected by another one.
You can't escape, man.
Straight to hell.
I think I've done good with the vampires. Anywho, so yeah, what do we do about that? Oh no.
Ooh. That's why he was quiet.
Yeah. Come back to us.
A dillion.
We're back.
Hey.
We back.
We thought you moving states would mean your internet would get better.
I'm sure it will.
Hey man,
I'm
when
currently
he
on
gets
borrowed
like
Wi-Fi.
when he's
that makes
able
sense.
to like establish, he's gonna get the fucking best internet.
you joke, but there are a few of the places I've been looking at. It's like, all right, what's the best internet I can get without becoming immediately poor?
Right.
Fiber.
Man, you know?
God, I wish.
God, that's what I miss about KC. Fucking Google Fiber was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
But the last thing I heard was Set saying you're not turning into a werewolf, you're turning into a vampire.
Oh, so
Yes.
you missed the entire tirade of Marshall being entirely linked to vampires for the rest of his
All
life.
of it.
Yes.
All of it.
Yeah, no. Just I can't escape it. I was, I have a Dampier in one game, BBG kind of in another. Now I'm infected.
By its genetics.
I mean, like, I get being typecast, but like, come on.
The two Towers look at you. Are you feeling all right there? You look a little quiet. Maybe she's actually turning into a vampire.
Are you turning into a
I
vampire?
don't know. I don't believe that's how it works.
No.
If you were
Can
to
you
turn it-
ingest garlic?
I don't know. I haven't seen garlic in the last
I
hour
grab-
or so.
I pull out my spice pouch and
Yeah.
get some
yes.
garlic powder. Silva,
There you
dip your
go.
finger in this.
Open your
Dip my-
mouth. Pah.
Dip my finger in it.
Lady Silva, if you were turned into a vampire, you legally have to tell us.
It's true.
Actually, there are no laws about that.
We think they would make laws.
There's no loss about the garlic Batman.
Mhm.
All right, Sova, what do you do with this garlic?
Yeah, I'm holding it in my hand. Garlic powder.
Pocket garlic.
Sorry, you said like nothing happens.
Well, what did you do with it? Did you put your finger in it?
I put my finger in it. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Consume it.
Yeah, try eating a little bit.
I guess I'll just like lick my
Lick your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Constitution saving throw.
What? Sorry.
Constitution saving throw.
Oh, good.
You're ratifying your constitution.
Like,
You know what this island of clones needs? A constitution.
True.
We the Talrics.
You got a what?
I think he said a 5.
I said a 5, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no. I hope they really like this elder Talric because he's going to die right now.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
You you take the garlic and you put it in your mouth. Right away, I mean, it tastes like regular garlic. It doesn't taste different or anything. You kind of sit there for a moment. Yeah. It tastes all right.
okay, but I'm not.
But
But you know what would taste better?
Would make it taste better.
You know what would go really good with that garlic?
Hmm.
What would go good with that garlic? Sorry, I didn't hear it.
What would really go good with that garlic is your
the
friend
Holy Cross.
there.
Your friend there.
Roll a d4 for me if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh boy.
You get to
Nice.
pick which friend you get to snack
3.
3. You are filled with an immense, irresistible urge to sink your teeth into Dak.
Not again.
So I'll just like it'll be the thing where like so I'll have like put my finger in the garlic and I'm like I have it and I'm like there like yeah I'm gonna look over Dak like look over at Dak
Hmm?
like say nothing.
I'm in danger.
How's the
I'm
garlic
indeed.
Silva? Do you feel any different? Any urges? Any like the need for pasta or other red things?
Like I'm gonna I want like me to like have the moment where I'm like about to break in and I'm gonna go and then him asking me about fucking pasta snaps me out because of what the fuck where I could turn what the hell being a vampire have to do with pasta.
Well, red things, red sauce, blood.
This is when we find out that Johannes's idea of a vampire is they just eat red things.
Eat a bunch of red things, yeah.
It's fine. You can distract the vampire by throwing it apples. They're like doctors.
Silva.
Yes.
The word pasta rings through your head like the church bells in Notre Dame. And you are left confused, befuddled, because for like a second there, you could have sworn you were thinking about pairing Dak with some garlic and how good that would taste.
Yeah, it might be affecting me a little bit.
Oh shit.
Oh boy.
Silva, you begin to feel extremely unwell. Your stomach begins to churn, and you feel your rib cage begin to shift inside of your body.
You're
Land.
transforming.
It's happening.
Anamorphine.
Do I land? I go on my feet.
Mhm.
I just kind of look around a bit. Who remembers? Who knows me? Who
The fact that you
remembers?
don't walk anywhere.
Yeah.
I believe that Lady Silva is unwell.
Right.
Uh-oh.
What's going on?
Oh, this could potentially be very bad.
Does anybody remember sign of cardiac arrest? I don't know if I'm not. I've been told it can surprise you can catch up on you. You don't always know.
Sylvia, it's getting harder to breathe. It's like the air is caught up in your throat and you need to like cough it out.
Someone turn up the air in here.
Set will get closer to Silva and like kind of try and help them like check out like, hey, what's going on?
Silva, it feels like there is a lump in your throat. Like you've eaten something and it hasn't made it all the way down your esophagus yet. Audience, this
Oh
is
no,
going to
the
get a little
garlic.
nasty. Letting you know in advance.
Wait, what?
So
There's a warning for the audience.
Oh.
You are filled with the overbearing need to throw up.
Oh no.
same.
Maybe that.
Silva. You're going to make one more Constitution saving throw, and you're going to do it with disadvantage. You want to fail this, I promise.
You want to throw up.
Okay, well, it's an 8.
Okay. You all see as Silva begins to say, I don't feel, and then immediately like
I don't feel too
snaps
good.
over and vomits onto the table. It is blood for the most part, and a small thud as a few objects hit the table and roll for a bit before stopping. And you see a pool of blood that is spreading out of the table slowly. Both of the Talrics immediately leap up from their chairs. TYR draws the halberd out. And you all watch in horror as Silva sort of reels back and tries to recover this pool of blood sitting on the table. And inside the blood, you see 2 dead rats.
Oh
I
no.
like, look.
Oh
I'm
boy.
mugging. And then I like faint.
Is this how babies are born?
No, Jack. Do these look basically the same as the rats that were from the werewolf that we fought?
You can investigate it if you'd like.
Yeah, I will.
Make an investigation check.
This is a 19.
19. You lean closer to inspect, and they do look very similar. And as you're inspecting them, you hear and you see that the rats begin to move.
Immediately take my dagger out and just like stab them.
They were not dead. They were waking up. And as they sort of come to conscious and begin to move and squeak, you, with a flash, bring a dagger out and bring it down on them into the table. The TYR shoots over to your side, brings the halberd around, and pulls you back away from the table, slamming you up against the wall. The rest of you are thrown out of the way. You see the Elder and TYJ immediately stand up. TYJ produces their own dagger from their side. They lift the tome up in the air, whisper a few words under their breath. The tome spins around in the air as magical incantations begin to form and flow around it. At this exact moment, the Elder looks to all of you and goes, "What is this? What is happening?" Smash! The window on the other side of you explodes inward into the room, sending glass, shattered glass everywhere. Silva, you look up, blood covering your face. You see the blood on the table. and a keen thought in your mind wiggles itself forth to tell you that is not your blood. And
Feeling like my semi-delirious state.
And that is where we will leave today's episode. The next time we reconvene, we will hopefully see a peaceful resolution to whatever has just happened.
I mean, yeah.
Get your peaceful resolution out of here.
Hey! We'll put that in.
And we can only hope TYR is quick with Lamoss. But hey, until then, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing. Good to be back into the swing of things. We'll see you next time. And remember, fear that red.
Hear the.
Oh, you gotta remember.
It's not 1960 anymore, Dylan.
You were told many a time. Fear the red. All right.